Welcome back to Conveaux and Co. My talk show and video podcast. I am Bella, and here's how this works. I introduce the topic, we watch the clip together, I give you my honest take, and then I want you in the comments. You'll see a question on screen for every segment, so don't just watch, make sure you participate. This is a conversation that I'm having with you, not a lecture. Today's topics are, what if your family member took someone's life? I cut him off, not because he's a man, because he's a bad person. And your pastor is not a therapist. All right, y'all. Today's first topic of the day, what if your family member took someone's life?
Being the sibling to a murderer is absolutely insane. Because I completely understand the family's pain and why they never want to see my little brother get out. Because he was 18 years old when he did it. And he was still technically in high school. And he tells me sometimes like how, like he's trying and he's changed and he wants to get out and all that. And the other part of me is like, we weren't raised like that, but we weren't raised at all. Like no one raised us. And that's why we are the way we are, I guess. Like my sister took her own life. My mom took her own life. None of us had dads. Like we're all half siblings. So and none of us had our dad. But I'm like, that's not an excuse to take someone's life. And it's just like, I love him at the same time. And it's such a weird feeling because I love my little brother and I want him to get better. And him talking to me, he tells me like that keeps him on the right track. He has someone to reach out to and talk to and I love him. But the other part of me is like, why did you do that? Why? Like you can never take that back. And I don't know anyone else who's like, little brother did that. And I would keep that like to myself. Like when people ask about my siblings, I just say, yeah, I got a little brother. Every now and then I'll say he's locked up. But when they ask what he did, I'm like, he murdered somebody. Yep. He murdered him. But I'm like, damn. Like, it's such a weird thing. It's such a weird feeling.
Sexual assault, pedophilia, in my opinion, are two types of murders that are 100% forgivable for the person who committed the crime, committed the murder. When you have people out here, and this is not about her brother, this is in general, I don't know his case. Although her name is on the video, I did not look her up. I did not do a deep dive into this. These are just general opinions. When you have people, and because you can read between the lines now, when people, let me back this up. There's a lot of thoughts going on in my head right now about this. This is heavy. When you have someone that has committed a crime and you feel as though they are not guilty or the judgment was too harsh, people are always talking. People will always say, well, he did X, Y, and Z because of this, right? He killed my stepfather because he was beating my mother or whatever the case may be, right? We know it's not that one because of what she said. But in general, when someone should be free, when someone should not have gotten as much time as they did, there's always words in a story with that. She did not give that, which means it was almost a just because murder. What do you do when someone in your family, your brother, your mom, your dad, your uncle murders someone and it's not in self-defense? It's almost in sport. What do you do? What do you do? How do you love them? Especially coming from a broken home as she did. How do you love someone that committed an act of violence that caused another family to lose someone and it wasn't in self-defense? Now, for me, I've already given my reasons, right? It absolutely has to be some sort of self-defense or for one of the reasons that I stated at the beginning of the video, which was pedophilia or sexual assault, right? There is not one reason, not one, to take someone else's life on this planet, on this earth. It's not one. But what do you do when you have that family member that's done that? Do you support them? How do you support them? Do you support them when they come home, if they come home? It's very interesting when you talk about these type of things, and it's not a hypothetical because it happens all the time, right? There are families on both ends of the stick. I think it's important to understand that sometimes environments play a factor on people's behaviors. It's still not an excuse. It's still not an excuse. What do you do when you have that cousin that comes home that you know is a murderer? What do you do when that cousin that comes home gets a significant other and you know that girl or boy is laying with a murderer? How do you treat them? It's a case of morals, ethics, and love. And I honestly don't have an opinion, surprisingly, on this topic. That's something that's heavy. That's something that we really need to talk about in the comments, because what do you do? That's still my family member. And what caused this to happen? How did we get here, right? Do you not love your family members that gangbang? For those that have that in their areas, do you not love those family members that have protected your family in ways that you don't know, but all you know is that they're locked up, right? You don't know what it used to be like. He obviously killed someone, however he killed them. I don't know. But do we talk about all of the drug dealers that have dealt drugs to people and they died? And we're even talking about like celebrities that have died. They are considered murderers as well because they distributed illegal narcotics. And the consumption thus was a loss of life. What do you do? How do you treat these people? I love my family members. I have family members that are in California. I have family members that have written books, that are parts, that have started gangs. And when I met them, I had no idea who they were or what they did until they left and the family got to talking. And I'm like, oh my, I would have never known. I wasn't treated that way. I wasn't treated as if I should be scared of a monster. Pay attention to the words that I'm saying without saying them. What do you do? And that's something that I hope brings up a lot of comments for this particular show. You're all over the place because you can be on both sides. When it's a senseless act of violence, you are angry and you want them locked up. Absolutely. But when it's environmental, and when I say senseless act of violence, carjacking, robbery, right? And when I say environmental, I'm talking gangs. That West Coast life is totally different. Midwest to West Coast life is totally different than the East Coast. Gonna almost sound ignorant when I say this, but sometimes that's what they're bred for, right? Does that make it any less damaging? It's something that needs to be talked about. We're going to go on to the next topic now.
So I had to cut off a friend today. I blocked that nigga's number so fucking quick because me and him had a discussion about something, because he's a father, right? And he has full custody of his kid. And like, it's never my business to say anything or to ask questions because that's none of my business and I don't give a fuck, whatever the fuck that you got going on. So then he was like, man, I gotta go pick up my jit today, da-da-da-da. And I'm over here like, pick up your jit. I was like, I'm confused. I thought the baby mama wasn't in life. He's like, oh, no, she left 3 years ago. I haven't seen that girl since. And I was like, damn, that sucks. And he was like, nah, I knew she was going to do it. And I was like, wait, what? And he explained it. He was just like, oh, it's a long story. This is what happened. He was like, I tried trapping my baby mama. And it completely backfired on me. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, I knew she really, really wanted a kid. And I knew that, like, she was such a kind, sweet person that she would put up with my bullshit. He's like, I never really cheated on her. But he was like, when people talk about weaponizing incompetence, he's like, I did that shit faithfully to the max. Just to like, make her feel like if she left me and left this kid would be miserable because I wouldn't know how to take care of the kid. So I was just like, honest to God, I didn't really say much. I just said, why? He was like, because I didn't want anybody else to have her. So I would literally, like, make her feel like she had nowhere else to go. And then I was like, damn. He's like, then what happened? He's like, one day that she just fucking left. She went to work, never came back. And, like, a couple days later, I got papers in the mail that she, like, relinquished all her rights. And she literally just, like, dipped, and I haven't seen her since then. And I was just like, in my mind, I was like, you know how far you have to push a woman who've always wanted kids to say fuck that kid and fuck that man. And then that, I blocked him. That's the reason I was like, we finished the conversation, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Everything you told me, I really wish you would have lied instead of told me the truth. He's like, why? He's like, I thought we were cool. I was like, we're cool. Not that cool. I don't know about your morals. I don't align with them, so I gotta dip, bro. Blocked him off everything, deleted his number, and I literally told him, don't ever fucking contact me again because you as a person, I literally don't like you. And it's the fact that you literally took something from that woman knowing damn well she wanted that. That was something that she's always wanted. Probably been wanting this since she was a kid. I have no idea who the fuck this woman is. Probably been wanting that so much, but you pushed her to the limit that she looked at the thing that she's always wanted and walked away from it. And I know that had to be the hardest thing that girl had to do. I don't even know the girl personally, but I know the struggle that she had to do to make that decision. And I, honest to God, could not be okay with that. 2, you ain't shit because you literally weaponized your incompetence to make this woman feel like she physically had to be there because you were going to put the kid in danger. What the fuck is wrong with you? And 3, when he was explaining everything else, he hasn't seen her in a few years, whatever it is, he still doesn't watch the kids. He has full custody, and the kid is always at his mom's house. I literally just thought the kid was always at his mom's house because he's working a lot until I literally started talking to him a little bit more and started realizing he really is not shit as a person. And I've always had this inkling about him, and I was just like, this nigga, like, I only met him through my closest guy friend that I met over here, and honest to God, now I see why my closest guy friend is just like, he a little weird, but he okay, but I don't be fucking with him as much. And my closest guy friend warned me about him, and now I see it. And I texted my closest guy friend, I was like, bruh. He was like, I try to tell you. And I was like, nigga, don't try to tell me. Be more specific, because when you're just like, hey, this nigga ain't shit, but don't give me fucking clues, I'm not trying to figure that out. Honest to God, I don't give a fuck if this nigga sees it. I hope you die. Like, what the fuck? Oh my God! If someone sends him this video, bitch, I literally, I don't wish death on you, but I literally hope you literally get paralyzed from the fucking eyes down, that you can see your life pass by. You're like, cause you really ain't shit of a person. Do men really do that? Like, I know I see a lot of times that men weaponize incompetence. I get that. I 100% get that. It's not just men who do that. Women do that shit too. But to literally weaponize incompetence that bad, and then to literally try to trap somebody, and then literally pushing that person to the breaking point of letting go of something that this person always wanted. Oh, I can't. I fucking can't. I'm literally I'm pissed. Because what? And then it makes me realize, how many times did women go through this and literally just put up with men because of it? I know women weaponize incompetence, but the thing is, women weaponize incompetence in a certain degree. They don't push the limits. They weaponize incompetence or something. They don't push the limits on when it comes to, like, weaponizing incompetence when it comes to, like, deep emotional wants. Like, a woman will weaponize your incompetence to be like, oh, I can't do this, yada, like, little things. As a lesbian, I've seen it. I have allowed it to happen. Certain things I'm like, nah, we ain't doing this. But, like, the things that my homeboy told me and the thing that, like, my female friends deal with men, I am so fucking appreciative that God himself and the universe made me a lesbian, because I promise you, I couldn't. I could not. Oh my God. But this does not give you guys, other straight women who are watching this, whatever the fucking situation, this does not give you the leeway to jump in the comments like, this is why we go to women. We don't want you over here either. You just got to pick better men. Y'all need to do better screening processes and start killing these men off. Like, stop trying to fucking make kids with them and pass down their fucking genes, because intelligence is passed down. I don't know if y'all know this. Start killing them motherfucking, that fucking genotype in their brain to die off. I don't know what the fuck to tell y'all, but I'm confused. Oh my God. Sorry for this video being so long. I need to calm down. I'm overstimulated. All right, bye y'all.
Now, she had a lot to say, and that was a long one, and I'm sorry. And I thought about cutting it off and making it short. However, there was a very good point at the end, and we're going to get there. She lost a male friend, right? You know, I got my handy dandy notes. Losing a male friend over being a piece of shit by traumatizing the mother of his child with weaponized incompetence to harm her, to mentally disable her by thinking that nobody would ever want her. Knowing she wanted a baby, knowing she wanted a family. Do you know how bad you have to mentally and emotionally abuse someone to have them leave a child that they wanted so bad and with you? When people speak of abuse, they often leave out the mental and emotional, and I'm talking about elders. They say, well, if it wasn't sexual abuse, which we know they look over a lot, and it wasn't physical abuse, you can get over everything else. And it's like, well, actually, no, that shit was mental warfare. That shit was hard. You have to sit back. And for any woman that's been pregnant, and if you haven't been pregnant, for any woman that's been in a depressive state, and anybody has tried to manipulate you in that depressive and vulnerable state, even more, we're talking postpartum here, right? If you've lost a child, could you imagine the mental and emotional damage that someone has to do to you to get you to leave your child and give up rights so you never have to deal with that man again? That is a horrible human. I'm going to pause that and say, if a man tells you not to be friends with another man, you take that and you stick a pin in it and you be done with that shit. Because men don't often do that. Men let you find out on your own. And when a man tells you he got some shit with him, baby, because we know all men got shit with him, but if he says, he's not that good of a person, you might want to believe him, and you probably don't need to know why. She goes on to say, not only does he have custody of this baby, that the baby is left more so with the grandma and mom, like grandma, great grandma, aunties, and them. And what I noticed about single fathers, let's get the fuck into it, is that anytime that they say, I'm a single father, I take care of my kids, my baby mother left, whether it was my fault or not, I got this baby, it's the rest of the family, the matriarchs, the upcoming matriarchs that are taking care of that baby. He is still financially, usually just being a father financially. That's how I was supposed to say that. We have these men that are terrorizing the women that bring forth life into this world, and the women around them are not correcting them. And you know how I know the women around this particular man is not correcting him? Because he bragged on this situation as if it was something to be proud of. Because had he been punched in his mouth over and over again, like that young lady said at the end, he would not have opened his mouth to just say, oh yeah, this is what I did to my baby mother. A piece of shit. I'm happy that that young lady was able to get away. What sucks is that she had to leave the baby she wanted to save herself. Do you know how the hypothetical always comes around and it goes, if you had to save me or the baby? She chose herself. Do you know what it takes for a mother to abandon a child that they wanted? There's so many women in this world that want children, have children, the father not be shit, and they take their baby and they make a beautiful fucking life. He needs help. He needs therapy, and so do the women around them, to understand why they are, one, helping him as much as they are, and why they are still coddling him, and why they think that this is okay. He would not be able to bring another child. He would not be able to bring another woman around me until he went to the psychiatrist, if that was my brother. But the way I be going in my family, it lets me know, me being an outlier lets me know that I stand up for myself and what I believe enough. It's everybody else, right? We're not going to have that nonsense around here. We're not going to have that nonsense around here. I just want to say, I just want to reiterate, if a man tells you that another man is not a good person, believe him the first time he tells you. You don't need the proof. The proof is that another man is saying it. And that's it. And that's all. And on to the next topic.
Y'all are going to come for me, but I don't care. I think the worst thing that you can do is get marriage counseling from a pastor.
I'm going to tell y'all a story versus my opinion. And at the end of the story, that's going to be it in regard to this pastor topic, okay? As I sit and have these conversations with you on screen, I have to get personal and you have to get to know me, okay? You never know what a pastor has done before they became a pastor. As we talk about these pastors, as we talk about these bishops, as we talk about the peer and equivalence of a pastor, right? Across the board. I'm about to put my little board down and I'm going to preach a little bit. You never know what they've done before they gain that title. You never know what they've done as they continue to hold that title. Let's tell the story now. There was a man that had a baby by a woman, and he wound up cheating on her and putting her out with the baby. Later down the line, he found another wife. This wife had a child. They then go on to get married and have a child together. Well, the man decides that he doesn't want to pay child support anymore. So he takes his new wife, his stepchild, and his new child, and they move to another state. This particular man becomes a pastor, because when you are the pastor, when you own a church, you don't pay taxes, okay? And what happens when you don't pay taxes? You don't pay child support. That's my father. That's my biological father. That's my story. That's my story. And I always tell people, oh, yeah. You cannot trust man. You cannot trust a man, because those people in Texas that were tithing, those people that wherever he's gone and done all this church work, they don't fucking know about me. But yet they put their faith and their money into man. What I know about this man is that he wasn't good to his child. Did he try to come back later in life and try to build a relationship? But it was still some shit. He's still some shit. I could tell some stories. You don't entrust a pastor to be a good marriage counselor because they do what? 9 times out of 10, they're cheating. They're caught in some scandal. They're caught in some scam. They have this first lady, but they down at the strip club. I know another one that's just like that. Right? We have these pastors that are of God and worldly, but they're also worldly, dibbling and dabbling in sin. These people are not clinically trained to be a therapist for two people coming together. Don't believe that because someone knows the Bible that they know psychology on a collegiate level. Okay? And that's all I have to say about that. And that's a wrap on today's Convo and Co. I gave you my take, and now I want yours. Drop your thoughts in the comments on any of today's topics because this conversation doesn't stop when the video ends. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe and come back every week because we always have something worth talking about. I'm BellaThaGawd, and I'll see you next time.